partially automatic sign-on method. See the diagram. Partially automatic sign-on method under the client authentication enables what service the sign-on methods depends on what service you access first. If you are accessing one of the in-band services, either HTTP, FTP, Telnet or RLogin the first time, then it behaves like user authentication. If you are accessing any other services apart from these the first time from the client system, that means it behaves like manual sign-on method, which means that you have to talk to the firewall, get yourself authenticated, only then you can talk to the internet resource. If you see this particular diagram, what we are going to do here is in the firewall we configure the manual sign-on partially automatic. Let me go and configure. This is the firewall. These are the resources: out of band services, in band services. I say right click and edit. I say partially automatic sign on. I say OK and I install the policy. When the policy got installed, we have to go to the client system and try to access a remote desktop first time. I say OK. Now see here, what I'm going to do is from the client system I'm going to access the remote desktop of this particular system. So since the remote desktop is an out of band service and the firewall is configured for partial automatic system, I should not be able to get this, because the partially automatic system, since it is configured, since you are accessing an out of band service the first time, it behaves like manual authentication. Means that you have to talk to the firewall, get yourself authenticated, only then you can talk to the 30.10. Instead of remote desktop, if you are accessing an HTTP or FTP or Telnet or authenticated services, any one of the in-band services, then the firewall will come up and ask the credentials. You can give the credential and you can go and access it. That it behaves like user authentication. Now I'm going to access from 10.10. I'm going to access remote desktop of this particular system, an out of band service which requires that I have to talk to the firewall, get myself authenticated. Directly if I am accessing, I will not be able to get it. Let me see the lab. Minimize this. This is installed. Minimize. I go to the clients. This is the remote desktop of the client system 10.10. I say from the 10.10 system I'm trying to access the 30.10 remote desktop the first time. I don't have any authentication, so I should not be able to get it. I say connect. I'm not able to get it because it behaves like manual sign-on method, because the partially automatic sign-on method is configured, which requires, if you access any one of the out of band service, it requires that you have to talk to the firewall. I cancel this. I close this. Let me talk to the firewall. Say 10.0.0.1 and :900. Say enter. And I'm say Smith and my password is ASDF and standard sign on. I'm authorized. Now the client system is authorized and now I can access the 30. I should be able to get. I say accessories, communications, remote desktop. I go to connect. I'm able to connect now. So this is ASDF. Okay. And what is the system about? This must be 30.10. I go here, right click and edit. Let me see what is IP address. That is 30.10 system. So I am able to get. The first time if you access any one of the out of band service like this, then it behaves like manual sign-on method. You have to talk to the firewall. Get yourself authenticated. Only then out of band service you can access. Behaves like manual authentication. But the first time if you access any one of the in-band services, then it behaves like user authentication. You can directly talk to 30.10 and you can get it. Let's see that. Close here, and this is 30.10 and I log off 30.10. Now I come back to my local system, that is 10.10. Right click and see this is 10.10 system. That's my local system. Fine. I close here. Now since I have the authentication, I need to come out. Say 10.0.0.1 :900 Let me say I am Smith, and ASDF is my password, and I log off, sign off. Once I signed off, that means the client system, it is this basic system. So since we configured partially automatic, we have seen how we accessed an out of band service. But now if you access an in-band services, say for example, let me show you the same exercise. First time, if you access the out of band service here, now if you want to take this desktop 30.10, this particular system does not have any authentication. If you say okay, you will not be able to connect, because the partially automatic authentication under the client system requires that you talk to the firewall. You didn't talk to the firewall and get yourself authenticated. I cancel this and I close this.